Hello, my name's Michael Wehar, broadcasting here from Swarthmore College's WSRN 91.5 FM. And we have some special guests in the studio today. We're really excited about it. We have Frank and Jordan from Ardvark Felon. Frank, could you please introduce yourself and your band?
Hey, thanks for having us, Michael. My name is Frank Velardo. I'm the Ardvark Felon. With me today is our bass player, Jordan Berger.
Well, we're really excited to have both of you, and there's going to be some music performances, which is going to be very awesome. So, Frank, where are you from, and how did this band originate?
Well, I am originally from Long Island, New York, and my family moved to Pennsylvania when I was about 16. So I got 11th and 12th grade at Hempfield High School, and then I went to Pitt for 2 years, and then I transferred to Temple, and I've been living in Philly ever since. So that's where I met. I guess Alex, our drummer, who's not here today. He was probably the first person I met when I moved here in 2007.
Well, that's awesome. We're glad to have you in the Philly area, and we're really excited to be featuring a local band. So, Frank, how did you first get into music and performing?
Well, music was in my family. My mom played some piano, still plays great piano, and my dad plays the drums. My uncles play guitar. Whenever we would get together for 4th of July or Christmas, everybody would break out the instruments and jam. And it was always just something I was always around. So I took some piano lessons when I was 9, maybe lasted about a year. I played violin and saxophone in school, 4th and 5th grade. But I always I would hit the ground running with those instruments. I'd be really excited about it, but then 6 months into it, I'd be the one crying because my mom would be trying to make me practice or whatever. It wasn't until I was probably 12 and I found the guitar is when I kind of really just dove in full force. And I think that had a lot to do with just because I had a private teacher. I'd bring in songs I wanted to learn. It was more pop oriented anyway, so I'd bring in songs I wanted to learn, and I'd watch my teacher transcribe it and write it out for me so I could go home and practice. And after watching him do that for a year or whatever, it's I could probably maybe try and do that myself. So I remember trying to China Grove, Doobie Brothers. I think that's one of the first guitar solos I tried to learn on my own, and it was challenging, but it kind of knew the process. So feeling like I could just kind of go after whatever it was that I wanted to learn, it's really hard to get tired of that.
Well, that's awesome. And I also heard earlier that it sounds like you know quite a bit about the Philly music scene, and I heard some of the details about the band's origin, but could you share anything about your involvement in the Philly music scene and also how your band came about?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's see. Alex, our drummer, who, I met back in 2007. We probably all met around that time, but Alex and I would go to jam sessions together. I'd have my amp on a little dolly, and he'd just have his sticks and whatever. We'd walk to Ortlieb's back in the day, or Chris's Jazz Cafe. The first band that we played in together was called Erroneous Crunk, and that was kind of a new jazz funk sort of thing with some other kids, other friends from Boyer, the music school at Temple. But yeah, we had a little buzz going on for a little while. I think Questlove even tweeted about us one time. He kind of walked into Silk City and saw us. But that was years ago, and that band didn't last. And then I was in another band with Alex that we toured around as a blues group. That didn't last. So it kind of came to the conclusion that if I want to be in a band that's just going to keep on having some sort of upward trajectory and not worry about putting all this time and effort into something and then just having it fall apart because other people in the band just gave up on it or whatever, that's when I'm all right, I'm going to start my own band, and it's going to go until I'm done with it. So that was kind of when the Ardvark Felon officially began.
Well, that's really awesome. I mean, it's so great to hear that some of your collaborators you've stuck with for such a long time. It's also awesome to hear your kind of perseverance with music and keeping with it. So the last question I have before we start the performance, and I wanted to ask both of you, we'll start with Frank, are there any musical inspirations or artistic influences that you could share with us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the earliest ones, the thing that kind of really sucked me into like playing guitar and like learning solos was, early Eric Clapton stuff from like the late 60s, basically 65 to maybe 71, like that era with like Cream, Blind Faith. That I really got into trying to like learn all those licks and everything. And also like, Hendrix was a big influence of mine, especially fashion wise, maybe. Beatles, anything from that, like the Doors, all that kind of stuff from the late 60s. But then, trying to get a little further with it, maybe, I actually went in both directions, I guess. Because, who did, Eric Clapton listen to? Well, he listened to, B.B. King and, Robert Johnson. So I started to study, the old blues stuff. But then it was kind of guys like John Scofield or Robin Ford, who kind of took a little bit of, that, Clapton-y sort of playing and went in more of, a jazzy direction with it. So, yeah, kind of all across the board these days. But those are some of the earlier ones.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jordan, same question. Could you share anything about musical influences or inspirations you might have?
Sure. Well, Frank is my biggest influence currently this morning. Pretty much everything. I mean, as far as I'm a bassist, and what led me to the bass was hearing bass in recordings as a young kid on my parents' radio and stuff. I remember getting really into the Blues Brothers movie from my dad, and that's of course Donald Duck Dunn playing the Fender bass, and it's mixed so well. It's so present, but it's not overpowering. And I'm talking about the movie mix, and which is basically they made records for that movie. And that was a huge influence on me. I used to watch that movie a lot. After school or whatever. My parents had it on Laserdisc. Let's just say it that way. Also, again, from my parents, sort of listening to Billy Joel, great bassist, which, of course, Doug Stegmeyer. Thankfully, I remembered his name. It just mixed so well. Queen. The bass is just so quintessential in that music, and I guess I was always just so drawn to it because, well, I don't know, can't really say, but it definitely was something that was obvious to me, that was so important to what we were hearing as a whole, even in mixes of Queen songs where it's there's so many tracks going on and so many vocals and everything like that. Later on, after my initial getting into music, I got more into jazz, and Jaco Pastorius became a huge influence on me on electric bass. Ray Brown was my first favorite upright bass player, and I didn't really start getting into that kind of thing until I was getting close to finishing high school. And then from there, I went to Temple University and kept studying and stuff like that. Hope that's good enough for now.
Well, that's really great. Thank you. So now we're going to get started with the musical performance. And just to remind you, again, this is Frank and Jordan, a part of Ardvark Felon, performing here in WSRN Studio, 91.5 FM. And feel free to introduce the song however you like, and then you can get started.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, so this first one we're going to play is a real fun one. A lot of times we'll, get done with a show and people run up and say, "Hey, we really like your pants." So anyway, we wrote this song. It goes like this.
Pants.
Saw them at Kohl's on the clearance rack. I took a chance, now I'm never going back. The way they feel gives me such a thrill. I could turn a penny to $100 bill. Let me introduce you to a whole new me. The new, smart, confident, and sexy Frankie. Even brings my playing to a whole new level. Come on, baby, in the sound, let me see you revel. I thought I could get good at the guitar. I thought someday I'd go far. But if you wanna make those bodies dance, it's all about the pants. Let me put you in a trance. Come on, you can have one glance. Every night I'm pouring out my soul, my emotions raging out of control. Woo! But you don't hear a single word I'm saying. Come on, you don't hear the notes I'm playing. But you could put me in a burlap bag. I'll wear it like the latest Ardvark swag.
Available at some website somewhere.
Thought you're getting good at the guitar. You know, my mama said, Frankie, you're gonna go real far. But if you wanna make those bodies dance, it's all about the pants. Make no mistake, it's no coincidence. I can rock this mother better than Prince. Don't lose the race, cause you won't play the game if you're not getting out. It's a shame, 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 shame. This is an industry that we view with our eyes. I know it's sad, but it's no surprise. But I still wanna do what makes me feel good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. I have the message, I have the touch, but that doesn't seem to matter all that much. Somebody help me! Good at the guitar. You know, someday I thought I'd go far. But if you wanna make those bodies dance, it's all about the pants.
Oh, that was so great. Thank you so much. This has been really amazing having Ardvark Felon visit us and play a few songs, and it's just been great. If you could share again your upcoming shows, just to remind our audience.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, first off, if you'd like to come and see me, thank you, Jordan. A little mic adjustment here. Every Wednesday, I host a really fun open mic at the Philadelphia Brewing Company. That's in my neighborhood in Kensington. Sign-up sheet goes out at 7:30, and I'll usually play a few songs up front, and then we open it up. And we had all sorts of different people playing different stuff and coming from different backgrounds, but it's a lot of fun, and it's really welcoming. So that's been a nice thing that I've had going on for about the last 6 years or so. The Ardvark Felon is going to be playing the Fishtown Neighborhood Association Halloween Fest on the 29th. There'll be a costume parade, and we'll be playing from about 2 to 3. And then, of course, the next big show that we're really trying to push is at Shiri Punjab in Media on December 15th, and that's with the Fractals.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much again. This has been such a pleasure to have you as our special guest today. Again, Frank and Jordan are visiting. They're part of Ardvark Felon, and my name's Michael Wehar, broadcasting from Swarthmore College's WSRN 91.5 FM, and we're going to sign off now for today. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks so much.